World Polio Day is on October the 24th. Every dollar raised for Polio Plus is matched 2-to-1. You can do that through Rotary International, my Rotary, or you can make a donation to us and we can get that sent in for that 2-to-1 match. Rotary Leadership Institute will be this weekend from 9:30 to 4:30 our time. It's at Murray State University. If you would like to go to that network with other Rotarians, please let me know and I can get you signed up for that. Rotary Readers is still going on. I don't have a sign up sheet for that today, but if you would still like to be involved with that, Brittany McCubbin would love to have you come and be a Rotary Reader. And so make sure that you reach out to her for that. Day of Giving is coming up on November the 10th. Want to thank everybody that's helping with that. Do you have an update? You need to say an update.
Well, we still need some trucks. Everybody have any idea?
I don't have any clue on trucks, honestly. If you know somebody that has a box truck that would like to help out with that, or a trailer, we typically have one at each location, one at IGA, one at Walmart, one at Kroger. People will load the things onto that truck or trailer, and then it gets delivered with the help of the wrestling program at Telegraph Schools. Will get delivered to the food pantry. So if you know the truck, if you we have 2 trucks, right? One.
And Jacob was at the end of the plan.
A box truck works best.
Better have a truck.
So be on the lookout for that. There is also a sheet that's going around to sign up for that. There's still a few spots that are left to fill in on that. So we'll make sure that that gets around. We're working on a Christmas get together. This week, there's a committee that's going to kind of get together and talk about through some dates. It's going to be during the week at night. So we're looking at to see how many people will be here, to see which location we need to be at as well. Rotary's focus during the month of October is economic and community development. And so make sure that's on your mind as you go out and figure out ways to serve in the community. Next week will be our club day. We switched club day and interact RILA update. So next week we will have our club day. So you'll have to listen to me speak unless we can find Griffin Hall or somebody to come up and speak and share. ACHS Culinary will be doing the meal with them. Interact and RILA update will come up the next week. As you all know, we had 6 or 8.
7 or 8. Go to Ryla.
Yeah, so I had 6 on my list, and then I think they said that there were 8 students.
Yeah.
And Maddie went as a leader for that as well. So we're excited to hear the update from them. And then we have Barry Smith Judge Executive coming up on the 8th, Day of Giving on the 10th, Mayor Dennis Benningfield on the 15th. So we have a lot going on, a lot coming up. And then Conley Pendleton's on the 22nd, which would lead us into Thanksgiving. So some great speakers coming up. Speaking of speakers, Dana Gleason. Dana has worked with Kentucky Kids Belong since 2019. Her first glimpse into the need for families to foster and adopt came when she lived overseas. After returning to the U.S., she saw how the need was prevalent here as well. Her favorite parts of her job are meeting some incredible kids and social workers, as well as celebrating when the kids find permanency and the love that they long for. So please help me welcome Dana Gleason today. Would you like this up here or would you like to hold?
It's better to be doing this. A quick intro for you. Thank you. Oops, these 3 things very well done, Dave. Forget about that. Thank you guys so much for having us. As you mentioned, I am the state manager for Kentucky Kids Belong, a nonprofit that is just doing great work in this state, changing the experiences and outcomes of kids that are in the foster care system. And that looks different in a number of different ways where we can help out. And so I wanted to quickly introduce, we've been, as I mentioned to a couple of you, but I've done a few of these presentations, and then with a baby coming on the way, I've been passing the baton off to David, who's taken over that. He's done multiples of these as well, and he and his wife have volunteered so many hours to come alongside Kentucky Kids Belong and help us do what we do. So I will pass that off to David, let him give a quick little introduction of himself and jump right into it. Meanwhile, I'm going to be going around and giving each of you a little sheet with just some action items. We would love by the end if you guys could look over and decide, hey, where you may be able to get involved. And it doesn't always, a lot of people, I think, get in their minds that, well, I can't foster or adopt, so what should I do? But there's a ton of different ways that we can get involved. And, everyone has the capacity to be able to help kids that are in the foster care system. So I will pass those around along with some pens. I would love to collect those from you guys at the end, if you wouldn't mind. And then there are also some other flyers I'll be passing around with some more information that you guys can take with you. I have extras if you need any more too, but I'll pass it off to David. Thank you.
So I'm David Kelly. I'm actually a member of the Lawrenceburg Rotary Club, and grateful to be working with Kentucky Kids Belong. We have a huge event coming up on November the 1st at Top Golf in Louisville. I got so turned around coming here today. I'm not sure how close we are to Louisville. I don't think we're all super far. So if any of you really like golf and you like Top Golf and you like a tournament and you like supporting a great cause, you can still sign up. I think there's about 40 spots left of the 200 out there. And in the good news department, that Top Golf tournament so far has raised I think $70,000 or so, Dana.
Yes, we were trying to hit 75,000. Yeah.
So doing a really good job, Dana and her whole team. So in terms of Kentucky Kids Belong, I got involved by listening to Dana at our Rotary Club at a meeting just like this. And she played a couple of videos and they touched my heart. And so I went home and told my wife we were going to foster a child. And she said, "You're crazy. You're definitely not going to do that." And so she found some other ways for us to help, which was largely joining an advisory board and volunteering our time to speak to some other Rotary clubs. And so we're going to talk about ways that you can help, and we're going to talk about what you're going to help with, and that's the situation. So I'll just point at you when it's time for a slide. So there we go. So Kentucky Kids Belong improves outcomes and experiences for kids in foster care. In our state, Kentucky, there's 5,100 foster families. There's about 8,500 kids in the foster program. So there's a little bit of a gap. So for sure, if anyone wants to foster a child, has a heart for fostering or adoption, there's a place on this card where you can check that off, right? And get information on how to get approved for that. That's a great need here in Kentucky. There's over 600 kids needing adoption, and what that means is that they've been removed permanently by the courts from their family. And for these 600 children, this is where Kentucky Kids Belong and the I Belong project focuses most of their time, which is helping place these 600 children with foster and loving adoptive families, to kind of pour into them and turn their life around. So you can imagine circumstances by which you would be permanently removed from your biological parents by the court. It's not a good situation for those 600 kids. Next slide. So think about what happens if we don't change the course for some of these kids in the foster program, particularly the 600 that have been removed from their family. There's a wheel that you don't want to be on: PTSD, suicide, sex trafficking, substance abuse, dropping out of school, poverty, homelessness, justice involved, unplanned pregnancy, and future generations of foster care, because the situation, replicates. And so that's what we're trying to avoid. Next slide, please. Social impact. This is an annualized social impact of 23,000 kiddos aging out of the foster care program each year, and the lifetime costs associated with these folks that did not find an adoptive family to love and nurture them. 6.9 billion annually gets spent on all of those resources that we saw on that wheel you don't want to be on the prior slide. Next slide, please. So what we're asking for in general, and it's on this sheet too, which I want to keep holding up, we look for a few things. We look for companies, right? We look for individuals. We look for places of worship. And we're going to tell you about all the ways you can help. So just a show of hands here. Who here, thinks they want to foster a child? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. That's a tough ask, right? I mean, I was the guy that's like, okay, I'm in. My wife said, "You're crazy." So that's a tough ask. But who here belongs to a church? Show of hands. Yeah, most of us, right? So making your church aware of the foster, program at Kentucky Kids Belong, and having Dana and her team go out there and go through the program that the church can offer to people in the community that are fostering children is a great, easy way for you to help. Who here either works for a company or owns a company? Got to be some people in here working on that. So, we want companies to become foster friendly. Foster friendly is about offering goods or services at a discount, similar to programs what you would do for a first responder, a nurse, firefighter, police, right? Foster parent, same thing. And so we have an app that sort of codifies that stuff. So if you have a company that you work for that you think might be interested in seeing what it's like to be foster friendly, that'd be a great thing to check off. If you work for, or if you attend a church or a place of worship that you think might be interested in being foster friendly, that'd be great. And certainly if you yourself have any interest in fostering or adopting children, you check that off. But lastly, if you have friends or family or acquaintances or coworkers that are fostering children, it's good to put them in contact with Dana's team as well, because there's a lot of resources that they may not be aware of, right? Next slide, please. So the I Belong project is the key part of Kentucky Kids Belong. And what we essentially do is we take these kids, these 600 children in Kentucky that have been removed from their families after following the legal process permanently. And these are the toughest kids to adopt. You can imagine if you want to adopt a child, right? And you selfishly, you're thinking, I'm going to adopt a child. And maybe my wife and I can't conceive and we want to adopt a child. We want to get probably a little baby and raise them up as our very own, like most people. Those kids, younger children, aren't very difficult to adopt. And so quite the opposite, kids that are 14, 15, 16 that have been removed from their family are next to impossible to get placed. And they're saddled with a lifetime of horrific abuses and PTSD. And so they're very challenging to take on. And so what we're trying to do as Kentucky Kids Belong is film videos of these children talking about who they are, what they want out of life, and so that families can really open up their hearts and they can see who these kids are and what they want to be and see their aspirations. And we match thereby these children who are extremely difficult to foster and adopt with families all over the state that want to pour into them. It's just that simple, right? So a big part of what we do are these videos. Next slide, I think it's going to be a video. No, it's not. Oh, so at the video shoot day, this is I think this one happened in Ashland. Is that right? In Ashland, you can actually see, I think there's a couple of Rotarians there volunteering from our club. And they give them like hair and makeup and they let them do fun games and, they feed them and, sort of like good news, bad news. The kids often report like, this is the best day of my life that I've ever had, which is kind of cool. But also when you think about it, it's pretty sad, right? Like the best day of your life is getting a video film so that maybe you can find an adoptive parent somewhere. So the next slide. And here's one of the kiddos to tell her story. Meet Mackenzie.
I would describe a family as sweet, kind, and caring and loving. I feel love when I'm upset and I get comfort from when I need it. The things that make me happy are being with my family and friends. If I had some wishes, my wishes would be have 1,000 cats. Kittens though, kittens. They gotta be real fluffy. I would my future to look like me being a police officer and doing the right thing for the country or the city or whatever, the state. I'm proud of myself for being me and having a nice personality and being friends with a lot of people and helping them out. I want to belong in the family because I know that deep inside of me and deep inside a lot of people, everybody has their own personality. Even if they say something and if they don't mean it, they still know deep inside that they didn't mean to say that. They was just upset and they said what they said. A fun way to celebrate my birthday would be, I don't know, I like skating a lot, so I would kind of go to the skating rink. Well, a couple times, but I'll be fine. The holiday is Easter. Easter's around my birthday, so I think the thing about Easter is eating the boiled eggs. I don't know why. I don't like the yolk inside. I like the white part for some reason. It's good. I can go anywhere in the world, and why? I would go to New York. I want to see the Justice Street dancers. I want to people to know that on the weekends, you better not wake me up. I'll be grumpy the whole rest of the day. I like my sleep in. If I won $1 million, I would buy, well, I wouldn't really buy anything. I would give it to people who need it. Because, I have a lot of things that most people don't have, and people are just out there like hungry and just sitting on the road. Some things I would like to do with the family is skate, talk, spend time, get to know them.
So you can see Mackenzie, pretty cool kid, and if she won $1 million, she'd give it away to people that need help, which is interesting, given her situation. And I think really noble. One of the challenges for foster parents is, getting enough. I think we shared earlier, there's 5,100 foster parents or foster families, and there's 8,500 kids. So foster parents are first responders. They take children like Mackenzie and give them a loving environment, make sure they go to school and make sure they eat right and make sure they go to church and make sure that they get involved in clubs and social activities. Next slide, please. One of the challenges with foster families is it's very difficult to get approved. It's very difficult to stay approved. In fact, one of the people that serves on this advisory team with Dana and myself, I think they fostered 34 or 39 children over the years, and I asked why they don't do it anymore. And the wife told me that, well, they just couldn't, they couldn't keep meeting the ongoing criteria given the husband's travel for his work and so forth. So imagine that. So people quit out of the foster program, and not only is it difficult, but there's a lack of community support. Think about the stigma that maybe some people have that, oh, these foster families there, these kids are, troubled youth, and maybe the people that adopt them are no good. They're just milking the state for money. Well, that's not the case at all, really. And so, in fact, they get very little money. And on top of that, they're saddled with kids that have horrific kind of problems and backgrounds. And then on top of that, like, where do they turn, right? Like, the house of worship doesn't have a program in place for them. If businesses don't support them, we're going to see a story coming up of a family that I think wanted to and ended up taking a family of 5 brothers and sisters. And imagine now all of a sudden you got 5 kids and you're still making the same money, and the state's paying you, $19 or $25 per day per child. That's the money that you get from the state. Next slide, please. So one of the ways that we do this at Kentucky Kids Belong, instead of just, filming the videos, which we do, we've created this foster-friendly app, and this connects foster families with businesses that will offer them goods and services like a first responder. And so this is kind of all over the country. This is really cool. If you know people that are fostering kids or have adopted children, you should definitely connect them with us so that we can tell them about this app and they can download it and start, taking advantage of some of the discounts. Next slide, please. So this is businesses, community partners, and faith. These are all the areas that the foster-friendly app covers. Foster-friendly businesses offer discounts, and community partners are already providing services, training, and more. And faith places of worship, we want them to be trauma-aware, teach about foster care and adoption, and to support foster families. And pretty easy asks, but because the state is involved, there is some compliance and training, which is what the organization helps to foster. Next slide, please. So if you work for a business, particularly a business that sells goods and services to consumers, I always tell the story. I was in the Marine Corps 100 years ago, with the Rough Riders and, Spanish American War, me and Teddy, President Roosevelt, and most of you were charging that hill in San Juan a long time ago. But, people always say, hey, where did you serve? And if you did, I can get $5 off on my haircut. Well, I can tell you, I've been blessed. God has blessed me. I don't need $5 off on my haircut ever, and I don't need 10 cents off on gas, and I don't need, an extra $500 on my vehicle from GM because I was a veteran. I just don't need those things. I'm fortunate. But who does need those things? foster families, for sure. And while America-wide in the 10 states that America's Kids Belong operates, we have many of these businesses still relatively new in Kentucky. And so most of the businesses we have are around Louisville. So when I come to towns like Campbellsville and Nicholasville, where apparently his friend is in Rotary, and E-Town and all the rest, where we've been, Danville, we always ask real push for the foster friendly businesses, because if you work for a business that sells goods or services to consumers, we would love to talk to them about getting involved with the app and supporting foster families in that way. Next slide, please. So you see about the foster friendly businesses and what they can do. They can, in addition to offering discounts, they can get employees involved in volunteering. They might be able to become a corporate sponsor for our events like we're having at Topgolf in Louisville, and maybe they could be a foster friendly workplace. Next slide, please. This is the app interface, which is really cool. It shows you what it looks like. Next slide. And there's some of the great businesses here in Kentucky that are on the app already. Next slide, please.
I am Kristen Allender with Tennessee Kids Belong. We recently launched the Business Impact Program, giving companies of all sizes, of all industries, a way to serve families and children in their community. With the launch of our app called Foster Friendly, foster parents all over the state can access anybody who's giving a discount or service to foster parents and foster families. Not everyone is called to foster or adopt, but we believe that everyone can do something. And that goes for the business community as well. Whether you're a mom and pop bakery, all the way up to a zoo, an aquarium, a toy shop, or even a car dealership where we are today, there's something you can do to make a significant impact in the lives of children and foster families in your area. So today we're here at Nissan of Cool Springs, and we're going to hear about them recently coming on board as a foster-friendly business and meet some of the foster families that have already been impacted by their generosity.
My name is Paul Huber, and I'm the Director of Technology here at Nissan of Cool Springs. When we found out about the needs within the foster care community here in Tennessee, we found out that there was a need for families to have larger vehicles. That gave us an opportunity to provide vehicles for these families. So we give them free rental for a month of either a van or a large SUV, and now they have the capacity to carry their larger family. Once they've really assessed their needs, if they decide to purchase a vehicle here, we give deep, deep discounts and truly try to make a difference in that way as well for the family.
Foster-friendly businesses have made a huge impact on our lives.
When you're at a restaurant and you see that they're offering a discount for families like you, for us to feel seen and recognized and appreciated, like, that's priceless.
My name is Kayla.
And my name is Ryan, and we just started fostering 3 months ago. We were set up for 2 kids, and we got the call for 5, and we just felt like it was something that we needed to do, and we did what we had to do to make it happen. The support of the community, the support of businesses, local and statewide, is making a difference for fostering and the children that are in the foster care system and the families that take care. So thank you.
In Tennessee, we're on track to become the most foster-friendly state in the country. Visit TennesseeKidsBelong.org to find out how you can get your business on board.
So we showed the, competition in Tennessee because we're not as far along. Tennessee has a very robust foster-friendly program. So think about ways the company you work for might be able to help. Can you offer a discount or service? Can you help sponsor kids, not apropos of workplace, but I know our Rotary Club, Lawrenceburg Rotary Club, is doing a Jeep invasion this weekend. So if you have a Jeep, you need to make your way to Lawrenceburg and then Georgetown after that. And it's for Kentucky Kids Belong. I think we've already raised $7,500. It's Nicholasville, that's right. That's right. Well, you should go to Nicholasville, then Lawrence. Go to Nicholasville in the morning, and then Lawrenceburg from 12 to 3, and then so people in Nicholasville wonder what's happening. So I mean, there's any number of ways you can support it. If the company can sponsor our Topgolf event, which happens in a couple of weeks. Next slide. Church has a heart for foster families. I can't imagine a church not having a heart for foster families. But it's interesting. The couple I was talking about prior, I know that they're in the Roman Catholic diocese, and they've had a difficult time getting their church to kind of connect with America's Kids Belong and go through the the certification, because there is the state compliance stuff. Next slide. Family and friends, if they are fostering kids, they need to know about this app, and if they're interested in fostering kids, we can help them navigate the system. Next slide. All right, so maybe you have a referral of a business that should be on the app. Maybe you have a referral of yourself because you want to foster or get involved, or you want to come play golf with us on November 1st. Maybe your club wants to make a donation, maybe you don't. Maybe, you know, your place of worship wants to get set up to be foster friendly. Any of those things are all on this card, and I would super appreciate it if any of those things resonate with you at all in helping these 8,500 kids, and specifically the 600 kids that can't go back to their family at all. You know, I just don't think, like I told my Rotary Club when I've been exposed to this, I can't imagine what else we could be doing that's more important at Rotary than sort of helping these kids here in Kentucky find loving, you know, homes. Next slide. These are the people to call: Valerie Bucala and Dana Gleason. And there she is in the flesh, and she has all the technical knowledge and can answer your questions that I cannot. So do we have any questions? Name and fill this out if there's anything that appeals to you, and we appreciate you having us out. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you all being part of this and what you do. To raise awareness across the state as well. We have a small token of appreciation for both of you all, so if you want to come up. Very nice. Thank you all so much for being here and being part of this, and I really appreciate it. And we're gonna close out here in just a second, but if y'all want to kind of hang around, in case somebody was shy and didn't want to say their question out loud. Yeah, you bet. Make sure that happens. So let's all stand, we can close with our 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair?
All concerned, goodwill and better friendships will be beneficial to all concerned.